I just think it's an interesting subject and something we're probably never going to know the answer to, but always something interesting to talk about. But I tell you what, one of the things that I'm always intrigued by with these serial killers is how they go about what they do. And, H.H. Holmes, most of them, he was gassing victims and doing different things that were really fucked up and abnormal. Well, Panzram was all across the board. He shot people, he strangled them, he beat them with a rock, he used an iron bar. Dude was killing kids. I mean, this guy, he was just all across the board. He wasn't one that had, I don't want to say it was an MO. It was all brutal, but, it was just kind of interesting to see his methods of murder.
I mean, like, this dude, like, really, man, I think he just did everything he did for, like, fun. And, I mean, he switched up his method all the time. It was never just one thing. And I think he just enjoyed, the killing, the sodomy. And, I mean, he just enjoyed it, man. He was just a sick man.
You're a sick man. Well, and, his locations were across the map, too. He had New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Kansas, where he meet his end, and, Luanda, Angola. So, I mean, this guy was all over the place. And I mentioned, he met his end in Kansas. He was executed by hanging in Kansas on September 5th, 1930. If you guys watch the Panzram documentary, some of his fucking quotes, Panzram's quotes, were absolutely... like, they're disturbing, but they're also kind of one of those things where, like, if I go out, goddamn, that's the way I want to go out. Some executioner taking too long. Come on, you damn Hoosier. I could have killed 10 people in the time that you've been trying to get this ready and then spit in their face.
I was going to say, man, because I remember when we talked about H.H. Holmes, and I said that his quote was the best quote I've ever heard. But this dude's got at least 10 quotes that are just, like, amazing, man. Like, everything he said was a quote that you can take to your grave, man. Like, it's just so awesome.
I like whenever the people were trying to protest on his behalf, he told them if they didn't stop, he was going to break out and kill all of them.
I mean, how awesome was that, dude?
And like, yeah, I mean, look, I know we're not supposed to hold these people to high regard for what they did, but some of the shit that they say, is just funny to me. I can't help it.
Yeah, and what do you say? My only regret is I couldn't kill the whole world or kill everybody on the damn planet.
The whole human race. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a regret.
A lot of his, and actually, ironically, it was killing a prison guard, I believe, that actually led to his execution. So it all comes full circle, right?
It was like the. It wasn't, because it was his boss or whatever in the laundry room, or the leader of the laundry room, I guess. Where they were making him work.
I believe the only way to reform people is to kill them. And you know what? A lot of times I can't disagree with that quote, because I feel like murderers should just be put to death. I have no use for them. Same for pedophiles, which, by the way, Vic, I don't know if this was what's grinding my gears or not, but I have absolutely no use for that Josh Duggar loser. You can go ahead and execute him anytime you feel, necessary. Touching little girls, you don't get fucking forgiveness for that, nor do you deserve it. I don't care what religion you are. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's just crazy, man. That's definitely grinding your gears or whatever. I don't even know. I don't even feel like talking about that.
Yeah. So, anyway, but I tell you what, I touched on this with Joel a little bit. And there's a therapist and a lot of other people who kind of thought that all this fucking Panzram talking about the prison system and how he treated stuff was just him making excuses for being a fucking monster. That he just was that way, and he would look for any excuse to say that this is why I did it, blah, 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 that he was just a fucked up individual. And you know what? I mean, that could be true, too. Although it's hard to believe that anybody that got treated the way he did wouldn't create some sort of homicidal behavior, because I don't know about you, if somebody treated me that way, I'd want to fuck their world up. Maybe not the rest of the world, but at least them.
Yeah, man. I mean, like when he went to that boarding school, and they just like beat his ass, man. He burned that place down or whatever, man. It's just he was mistreated for sure. And I mean, But that's the same with a lot of serial killers, or I mean, even like the school shooters and shit. You know what I'm saying? They get mistreated or pushed over the limit, and I mean, at a certain point, everybody has their own as a breaking point.
Yeah, and I don't know where I rank him among my favorites as far as serial killers, but after watching the Panzram documentary by John Borowski, I have to say this fucking documentary was excellent. Regardless if people agree with the perspective on it, I agree. Henry Lester was an important guy, and I really liked the documentary. Vic, you want to throw out a rating and talk about the documentary itself, and beyond just the man?
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is one of the most well done documentaries I've seen. Like you said earlier, the dude doing the voice was just terrific. Like,
and he's
great,
a pro
man.
too. He's a pro too.
Right.
He was one that I looked up and I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm even going to be able to touch him because he's a guy that does a lot of professional voices. We think Roger Rose did a lot of professional voices. He can't touch this guy.
Yeah, dude, like, I mean, so good, man. Like, I have no idea what he sounds like, but I'm picturing this dude is like sounds just like him. He was amazing, but I just thought the documentary overall was just well done. I mean, obviously they did their homework. Everybody that was featured in it, I thought really brought it. And I mean, as far as movies go, as far as documentaries go, I'm giving it a 4 out of 4 chainsaws all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked it too, Vic. I liked all the people that collaborated on it. Thought there was a lot of interesting things. The quotes were amazing. The voiceover work were great. And, I'm going to have to agree with you as far as documentaries go, and you guys can talk about the difference between that and a movie. But as far as the documentary goes, while I do feel like the opinion of the way things were viewed were kind of skewed one way because, again, I think Panzram was kind of portrayed in a sympathetic light, whereas in a lot of other ones, you're just portraying a monster just being fucked up. It was true of H.H. Holmes. There was no sympathy for H.H. Holmes in that documentary. But this one, you had a little bit of that. But I will say this, there were a lot of moving parts here that you did not have in H.H. Holmes' territory. So I would also give it 4 out of 4 machetes here because, again, there's just so much good to it, and the cast was just spot on, good stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I could be full of shit, but I think John Borowski actually did this one before the others. So great job by him. Great job by everybody involved. And great job by everybody who called tonight. I mean, you guys really kind of opened our eyes to some things we weren't aware of about, the prison system and the people that actually preserve documents like that because, I mean, it's not something you think about on a day-to-day basis. So it's kind of cool to get into some different subjects to kind of supplement the serial killer talk here.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, one day I'd like to go out to San Diego State University and see what's up out there, man. I want to go meet up with, what's his name, Robert Ray. Go have a sit down with him.
There's so many serial killer locations that I'm probably weird for wanting to go visit, but one of those is the Dahmer Walk in Milwaukee. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Vic, but there's something, I think it's called the Dahmer Walk, but regardless, basically somebody takes you on a Dahmer tour and they show you all the locations where things happened out there.
That is amazing, and I say we take a vacation up there and go.
Actually, funny connection here, they talk about it in Serial Killer Culture, another documentary that John Borowski was involved in. So, Borowski, he knows his fucking serial killers, man, and he did great work on these things. We've already talked about 2, H.H. Holmes and, of course, Carl Panzram. At some point, we'll have to get into Albert Fish, but for now, we've kind of got, I think, our next serial killer in mind, which maybe we'll reveal at a later date. Maybe we don't, though. I think we do, though. At the end of June, we may have a different one. Who knows? So, in the meantime, a lot of good stuff coming up, but we'll put that on the back burner for now and kind of talk about some other stuff. Vic, you got anything that's been grinding your gears outside of some Duggar molesting?
Not really, man. I mean, I'm actually, yeah, I do. Hold on. because the Hawks been playing in the playoffs. I know you've seen it, and we're losing to the fighting LeBrons, which is fine. I'm okay with losing to LeBron because he's LeBron and he's the best NBA player to ever live. Yada yada yada. But they got this little Australian douchebag on their team that has already tried to injure two of our players, and actually he's officially put Kyle Korver out for 4 to 6 months with a ankle, knee injury, whatever. He tried to do it again to Al Horford last night, and Al Horford dropped Randy Savage elbow on him and got ejected. And he also did it to Taj Gibson from the Bulls, which whatever, he's a Bulls player, so I don't care too much. But I mean, it's just ridiculous, dude. And like any sport, anything you ever do, you never want to try to end a man's career. I mean, I've learned that from the get-go. No matter if it's a sport, I don't care what it is in life. You never want to try to take a man out unless you're a hitman or a serial killer. That's it. So, I mean, the fact that, you got this little douchebag from Mount St. Mary's over here just trying to take out legs and blah, blah, blah. And you know what everybody's excuse is about it? Oh, well, he's a rugby player. That's how they play. Really? He's a rugby player? No, he's a douchebag. So, yeah.
They're just trying to make excuses.
Yeah, just because he's a little white dude. Nobody cares, dude. You suck. You're a bum.
If there was a black guy doing that, and I'm white, and I think that a lot of times it goes the other way, but if there was a black guy doing this, they'd fucking call him a thug and everything else. But since it's a white guy, they don't do that.
Exactly, dude. It's kind of ridiculous.
I'm calling racism there.
Me too.
Or
at
least
stupid.
racial bias or something.
Well, whatever it is. But the bad part is, it's like people like Charles Barkley, who I thought was like the biggest racist in the world, is defending the guy.
Well, that's because Barkley was that way.
Well, yeah, true. But Reggie Miller wants to hang him. Like, Reggie Miller hates him. So, I'm a Reggie Miller guy.
Well,
and Shaq wants to hang him, too. Shaq hates him.
Yeah, he's a bum anyway. He's Bill Laimbeer in the 21st century. That's who he is.
Yeah. I mean,
I know you're a Laimbeer guy, but that's how it would be if you were one of those teams playing Laimbeer, trust me.
Well, yeah. We never had to play Laimbeer. We always got beat by the Bulls.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
we had to deal with fucking Laimbeer, and I'm a Lakers fan, by the way. We had to deal with that piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I hated him. But, looking back, he's just like Leitner. It was just impressive to look back on the things he did because, without those guys, college basketball and NBA wouldn't have been as interesting in history. So, but Vic, I tell you what, man, I used the term earlier about full circle, how, it goes back to this or it goes back to that. Man, last week what was grinding your gears, if I'm not mistaken, were thieves, correct?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, and oddly enough, I was just waiting for I just got my mower back last week because, like with every mower I ever buy, there's a fucking problem with it. I have to take it into the shop to get it fixed. I get it done. I do get to use it. It works, by the way. It acted like it wasn't going to start at first. I kicked it, and it did work, and then it worked fine the rest of the way. Well, I lock it up. And the way I do it is because I don't have a shed and I don't have a fenced-in yard, unfortunately. I have a corner lot with neither of those things. Can't really put it in my basement because who wants to bring a lawnmower into your own house? I lock it up with a bike lock, a decent bike lock, to my deck, okay? I get home from work. I can't remember. I think it was like maybe Thursday I get home from work. And I look, and the thing that I usually have laying on top of it just to make sure it doesn't get rain in the engine or anything, it's just kind of laying there. And I kind of tilt my head, and I'm like, I'm like, I guess it fell off. And I'm like, wait a minute, where the fuck's the lawnmower? And I realized that my lawnmower, including the lock that had it locked to the deck, were both stolen. So that means they cut the lock, they took the lock with them, and they took the lawnmower with them. Now, I don't know what kind of a loser would take the lock with them, because why not just leave it? It's not like anybody's going to fingerprint it. The lawnmower's like $250. But let me just say, I'm going to find it absolutely hilarious if your thieving ass tries to either use the lawnmower or sell it to some idiot who's stupid enough to buy a lawnmower that was stolen, and it doesn't work. Now, that is going to be my poetic justice. Now, the only other thing that I think would be more poetic justice is for me to sit on my fucking roof, put something out there for somebody to come try to steal, and then